Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us for another edition of the PMI Tampa Bay Agile for Everyone series. I'm your host, Bill Washensky, Director of Professional Development Agile Coach, and PMP with the PMI Tampa Bay chapter. Without any further ado, let's get started. Now, this is going to be part two, asking powerful questions. Part one of our session was resistance responses, and a quick recap was those were the statement stall, question, objection, yes or no. And we ended with no. And fittingly, we're going to start with no because I love it. It's beautiful. That's when the real conversation begins. And as always, what does this have to do with Agile? Well, what doesn't it have to do with Agile, really? If you're a Scrum Master, if you're an Agile coach, you're a product owner, you're going, or your company decides, hey, we're going to do the Agile, and then seeks out help. There's always existing processes that are in place that you have to change. You're a change agent. And we've already talked about in part one, the human mind is hardwired against uncertainty. Uncertainty is equal to change. And the same parts of your brain light up when faced with ambiguity or uncertainty are the same parts of your brain that light up when stimulated by physical pain. So remember that. So getting to know, what does no do for you? Why is it the beginning of the conversation? Well, first off, getting a no puts your counterpart in a situation where they're feeling more safe and secure. Immediately, it might be the illusion of control, but they're automatically feeling less uncertain, which helps you out, helps you against that uphill battle. It breaks the impasse. So we're helping someone think more clearly, breaking impasse. You can also help get someone's attention who maybe they've stopped responding to you, AKA ghosting. So while this is not there to help you with your dating life, if you've ever been ghosted, it does happen in business too. And let's look at some yes-oriented and no-oriented type of questions that you can use to, help facilitate your conversation along. Yes versus no. When would be a good time to talk? Versus, is now a bad time to talk? Is that right? Versus, did I miss something? Do I have that correct? Versus, am I wrong in saying blank? Consider that for a moment, the yes versus the no. Which one is more powerful and which one is much easier to get a concrete answer out of? Now, the first part in avoiding the resistance responses is your active listening. So let's review those real quick. These are very important principles that if you can master, you're not going to get any of the resistance responses. You're going to get your concrete answer. So mirroring. This is when you repeat the last three things, or maybe the most three critical things the person said. And I kid you not, this is a Jedi mind trick. It works wonders. It takes practice, mind you, but it's certainly far more effective than just giving a positive reinforcement, which is many times an attaboy, versus really acknowledging. Because you always want to ask yourself, what are they communicating? And what are they communicating right now? And you want to double check that, review everything you hear. Then we're going to go into tactical empathy. We not only want to empathize, to see from someone else's point of view, but we want to listen without argument and focus attention on the emotional obstacles that stand in the way of an agreement. And that's tactical empathy. And then you want to label it. When you label it, you're validating your counterpart's emotional state by verbally acknowledging it. It sounds like blank. It seems like blank. It looks like blank. It sounds like trust is very important to you. These are all about getting buy-in. Very important making sure you know, how does this fit? The proof of life question. How do we know your team is on board? The question behind the question is most important. What makes you ask? Because once we're there, it's all about the how and the what questions. Now, you've always heard we want to find out the why. And I agree. I'm not disagreeing that and not discounting that. I would just say ask the why question in a how or what format. It's less direct and less invasive, makes that person feel more secure. Again, we want to keep them feeling secure. And how questions, they're going to focus on implementation and get candid feedback about the execution. Always remember, yes means nothing without the how. So that's how you can really tell that phony yes, that counterfeit yes. What questions are designed to uncover challenges and obstacles? Remember, we're talking about objections. Well, if we got the buy-in, we got the what, all right? So let's talk about implementation. What are the next steps? What should happen if we don't hear back from you? What happens if we get off track? And what will we do to address it? What does success look like? What goals do you want to accomplish? Very important that you want to present options rather than framing a solution. You want your counterpart to do that with you. Really, you want to leverage your counterpart, your teams, their collective genius by including them in that brainstorming process. So, how would you like it to be? If you were me, what would you do first? What would be your backup plan? If there were no constraints, what would you do? These are the powerful questions you have to ask. And that's how you're going to get commitment and buy-in. Let me give you some more examples, and then we're going to go to the final section here. But powerful questions that you can ask. What similar situations have you encountered before? How did you want it to be? What have you assumed that blank that might not necessarily be true? What's surprisingly difficult for you around here? If you can create an analogy for the situation, what would it be? If your life depended upon taking some sort of action, what would you do? And you've hit the mark when you have a little paradigm shift in the room. Maybe it could be a tilt of the head, a shift in body posture, or how someone's sitting. It could be a period of silence in which they're in contemplation, in which you must not interrupt. And there's a noticeable change of energy. So these are ways you hit the mark with a powerful question. Now, if you get ghosted, they stop responding. Remember, you only have a very short time to make that impression. You got to come off sharp attack, an expert in your field. You have to have that enthusiasm, and you have to become seen as that person you really got to listen to this person. And you got like 4 seconds to do that. And it's hard. So you got to be prepared with that. But if you're ghosted, it means they haven't bought into you. So all of this doesn't matter. And that's how you get those resistance responses, is that they have not bought into you. They haven't bought you. They haven't bought your product. They haven't bought your process. They don't believe in what it is. So you have to circle back from the beginning. There is no other way. You go back and you get to the real no. And if you're just simply getting ghosted and you need to get that process started, a couple things that you can try. They have worked. I have used them. It could be a text message or an email even. And here's 2 examples. I'm guessing you haven't got around to blank. Now, this takes away the power of someone making an excuse, or it makes them feel pride in that they actually did it. The other one is very simple. Have you given up on this project? people don't like to be perceived as quitters. On that, I guess we're going to have to quit for the day. That's a lot to there. A lot of questions, but I think it's a lot in there. And there's a lot of power in no. Don't be afraid of it. Remember, everything starts with it. And until next time, continue on your Agile journey. Stay healthy and stay happy, my friends. Take care.